Well, howdy, physics sleuths and inquisitive souls. Welcome to the Great Tribulation with dynamic gravity. So, let's begin. This is going to be a very crazy and probably long episode, but it's very important information, and I really feel that people should know this. And I know not many people are ever going to see this, but maybe someone will that will actually care about the Great Tribulation. So basically, kind of what's going on is that the Bible predicts that the end of the world will occur kind of with this great tribulation and a rapture, which people are divided on will come right before the tribulation or at the very end of it. And then, of course, Armageddon, which is where the world essentially gets destroyed. And then Jesus comes down from space and, kind of sets everything straight. And from then on rules the earth, which a much more commandeering hand on humanity. Because, I kind of think the whole Armageddon was all a process just to really show humanity through trial and error. See, look, this is what happens to you. This is where you go when we take the leash off you and you're free to do whatever you want. You essentially become, evil entities that don't really care about anything, especially your own species survival, much less any other species survival. And it's just nothing works. Nobody's happy, and nobody knows what to do about it because the seeds were sowed in the generation before ours, and so we are paying for their sins, and the sins we do, the next generation will pay for it. It's just people don't think like that generationally. They think very limited into what their own sphere of influence is, and not the sphere of influence that they leave behind. It's kind of sucks, but let's get into it. First, I want to start, before we get into why I believe the world is about to end and what to do with it, or what to do about it. I want to first start by unifying the theory of evolution with the theory of creationism. All right. Evolution is started by Charles Darwin, just simply that things evolve over time, and then they started a very long time ago, something very different, and now they are what they are now, and it's because of natural forces. Where creationism is just essentially going word for word by what the Bible or any religious canon says on how everything begun. And I know most everybody believes you have to choose one or the other. Either you're in camp science with evolution, or you're in camp God with creation. That's a tough choice, because especially if you're a religious person and you understand science, you don't want to forsake science, something you understand, for something you don't, but you don't want to forsake your own God, the guy who wrote the guide for how you're supposed to live your life, because this guy in a lab coat declares he's science or whatever, you know what I mean? So let's go ahead and nix this right in the butt right now and see what's really going on here. First, I want to bring your attention to the Jews' history. Right, about as far as it goes back as we can tell is like 1500 BC. Okay. Now, in reality, of course, there were Jewish people before this, but essentially, Jewish people are an oddity. They're very interesting. Let me get a map. Okay, so I have a map of the Earth, right? and it's kind of is essentially a map of different ethnicities or races, you know. So it mostly follows country by country, but of course our entire regions are kind of stacked together. Well, we know that you know humanity essentially started from Australopithecus, which was in this region here, and oh wait, did it not? Okay, there we go. And this region here, and then it turned into Homo erectus, which kind of traveled far and vast regions because it went from just eating fruit to eating meat, and so now it could expand out wherever the meat was. And then from there, it turned into Homo habilis, and then at Homo habilis, the aliens intervened and kind of created Homo sapiens. And then Homo sapiens, somehow, we got separated or sent all around the world, right? And the current scientific understanding for that is that Homo sapiens started in Africa and then sent their ways out, away, and then all the way around, and then through the land bridge and the Bering Strait land bridge, they think was there, and then down. They think there was a land bridge between Australia and New Zealand and all this. I really don't believe that. I think the aliens just created pretty much most races and just plotted them down into different regions that they wanted them, and then they created their culture and their religion that they were to, go by. And we know one of the oldest religions is Siberian shamanism. So that would be like this whole region right here, which is all shaman. A lot of shamanism goes back real long in South America too. Beyond that, we got India and Indian religion going back 6,000 years, maybe 8,000 years. So they're a pretty old culture too. We know China's definitely an old one as well. They were probably the first, this region, and then they started populating others. Well, this is all my theory. This is not facts or what science says. Science says officially that we started, evolved in Africa. They just spread out through land bridges, and that's what it is. But whether you believe that or not, there's always been this weird catch of where did the Jews come from? Because the Jews racially appear very similar to Greeks, right? So, Israel is right here, and Greece is what, right here? So, they appear kind of half Greek, half Turkey, which would be right here, which is not too far away. But so they could have easily migrated that far. But essentially, we really don't have any evidence of the Jews being anywhere back more than 3,000 years ago, or not 3,000, but 5,000 years ago, 3,000 BC. And that's just peculiar. And that got me thinking, right? So as far as we know, the Jewish race only really goes back 5,000 years. But we know humanity goes back, I don't know, Aborigines claim 70,000 years ago. I don't know if that's true. I think that's a bit extreme, but we know civilization for sure. Cities definitely are not older than 10,000 years old. Humans are probably, modern humans as we would know ourselves, are probably not much more than 40,000 years old. Humans, Homo sapiens, in the loosely, caveman terms, are probably going back maybe 50 to 100,000 years. That's hard to say. But let us take a look at what the Bible says. All right. So now the Bible obviously doesn't go into evolution much at all. But, it does say some things, like how the universe was created. Say the earth first was without form, and it was all black and dark. And then, there was light, stars came and blah, blah, blah. It's basically giving you a very generic understanding of how the universe began. And then I think around here, it says, and God said, let us make man in our own image. So plural form, right? And this is the official explanation for why God is talking to himself in a plural form to us, is because he is consoling and referring with his angels and his legion. Personally, I believe this is meant to be a nod, an Easter egg in the Bible that basically, lets you know that what you think of as a single entity of God is actually a conglomerate of advanced aliens working together to facilitate him and the religion that governs everything. But whatever, that isn't here or there. I go into that in my last video if you really care about that. But so basically it says, let us make man in our own image. So here's where he's thinking about making man, right? On 26. And then on 27, so God created man in his own image. He did it. He made man. And in the image of God created him a male and female. Sorry, binary only. And he blessed them, and God said, be fruitful, and he did all these things, right? He created humanity. Humans all over. Humans were created in God's own image, basically using his own DNA a little bit here to advance us more like him. Right? But then it says also in Genesis 2:7, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils and breath of life, and man became a living soul. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden. So basically here is saying that God has created man again. And this one, he made sure to pump up and give him like a real good soul. And then he created the Garden of Eden. This is Adam. This is the first, human in Eden, which is Adam. Okay? So here in verse 26, we have humanity, all humans being created. And then in verse 2:7, we have him making Adam. And soon after Eve in the Garden of Eden. So, why is this important? This is important because this gives two separate timelines for humanity. One, which all of humans were made, which we can trace and track pretty good and understand very well. Not very well, but to a reasonable degree. With the theory of evolution, we understand much anyways. And then there is Adam that was created, and Adam is the first Jew. Okay, so you got to keep in mind the Bible, it was meant to be the new improved religion of Judaism for the Jews, for the people in that culture and that region of the planet. So it was not really, I guess, appropriate at the time to basically reveal all. It only revealed what needs to be revealed. And so they revealed that Adam was the first of them, and then gave Adam's lineage and bloodline, which works out to be about 5,000 years old to the present, which is, about how old we know the Jews have been, give or take, in the Israel region, into that whole region, in Egypt and whatnot, and we're slaves. So that pretty much explains how creationism is real. God's word is real, and what he says is real. But he doesn't tell you everything right off the bat because you're a stupid earth monkey thing and you really can't handle it. So he kind of gives these little hints that you have to figure out over time, and the new levels of epiphanies grow upon that. And then all is revealed eventually. So, yeah, I just wanted to let that know that from that perspective, there is no rift between evolution and creation theory. They both work hand in hand, side by side, describing different parts of our evolution as to humans. That's what it is. I wouldn't feel as though you have to choose one or the other. I think you're an idiot if you don't believe in evolution theory, because of all of our science, that is by far one of the most established one. That is literally the thing that kind of created science as we know it today. Modern science was the theory of evolution and understanding that and making that, figuring that out. And then also you could say modern chemistry. So I just wanted to go into that and let you guys know that you don't have to choose one or the other. It's really both that were. It's really both that are they're both true. They're both right. Okay. So now let us go to this one. All right. Here is a video I made a long time ago, like, I don't know, 2 years ago now, maybe 3. It's been a hot minute. Where basically I go off into, all of the signs of Armageddon as laid out in Revelations as already occurring. Which means that we are now in the tribulation, because the final one was 2019 COVID. I'll just go quickly. Marks of sores, and those who worship the beast will praise his image. And, marks and sores, remember the AIDS pandemic, 1981, which, primarily affected all of your drug users and homosexuals and, of course, prostitutes. Very unscrupulous characters, I guess you could say, sinners. And so, the virus started there to punish them. And then Dr. Fauci, that was his great rise to claim, was handling the AIDS pandemic, even though to this day we still have like 3 million people with AIDS in America. That's like 1% of the population is infected with AIDS/HIV, whatever the hell you want to call it. Doesn't sound like Dr. Fauci did very good on that, but that was his great claim, and they made him king of the NIHD for that and everything, and they praised him to no end, and boy, they really propped him up on that deal. The second one is seas turn red from blood. In 2012, of course, we had Fukushima nuclear meltdown, and yes, there are many beaches that were blood red from all the blood from the dead fish. Rivers turned red from blood. This one is in 2015. ISIS took over the Middle East, and they purposely, I originally remember the report being 5,000 men, but when I re-looked it up again, they claimed it was only 2,000. Maybe it was updated. Maybe they're wrong now. Who knows? But they executed many thousands of people into the Tigris River on purpose to make it flow blood red for 3 days straight. They did that on purpose to fulfill this prophecy to legitimize their caliphate. Was their reasoning for that. So this is by far the most absolute sign on this list, because the group purposely tried to fulfill that. That was their goal. And then sun scorches a man, 2017 solar eclipse, first since 1918 to go coast to coast, and 1776, the birthday of America, to hit America only. That was very interesting. The Butt of the Beast and Empire of Darkness, number 5. And we got Trump is the beast. He is in charge of America, and he is considered kind of a joke, clown, whatever. So the Butt of the Beast. The Joke of the Beast, and Empire of Darkness. And this is where Dr. Fauci got Trump to approve his gain of function research. So that's where this Empire of Darkness comes in, because Trump is fulfilling the role of the beast in this Revelations. All right, Dr. Fauci is 100% fulfilling the role of the false prophet. So the only role left in the satanic trio is the Antichrist. And we're going to go into that. I'm pretty sure I got that nailed down too, who's going to be doing that. Okay, so we got the Euphrates runs dry. Well, the Euphrates has been running dry for a while now, like the last 10 years, but like pretty much around 2020, 2019, whatever, it was so dry that like all of the bottom half of Iraq has no more water irrigation from the Euphrates and Tigris. It's all gone. It's dried up. Only Syria and Jordan get the river now. Most of Iraq is pretty dried up. It's not usable very much. So it's essentially gone, depending on where you're at. And then, of course, 2019, the angel spread his vial through the air, and through the air it spreads, and the voice on the throne said, "It is done." And that is, of course, the COVID-19 causing the pandemic, which, still to this day, freaking out all of the crazy Democrats. Additionally, in Revelations, it talks about how the false prophet will have unclean spirits resembling frogs, frogs kind of resemble bats, coming out of his mouth nonstop. Like, he won't shut up about these stupid, unclean frogs. Now, unclean in the Bible pretty much just means diseased. All right? That's anything we change to the unclean in the Bible, it just means diseased. So, unclean spirit of something resembling a frog would say, okay, there's something that's got this disease that looks like a frog. Well, to me, that's a bat. Now, you might be saying, well, I don't really think that frogs and bats look alike, so much. Really? Is that your final answer? Because, I mean, I get it. A bat is hairy and a frog is not. But, I mean, they're both about the same size. They both have, like, the same statue, the same type of body structure. They both have kind of like webbing the skin, round, black, beady eyes. I mean, I get it. They're not identical, but you know what? They're not exactly worlds apart either. They're actually pretty similar by a lot of standards. So, yeah, that is pretty much that deal right there, that I would have to say, is, yeah, the frogs and the bats, they're pretty much, I mean, they're not identical, but you get what I'm saying. They're close enough that when the Bible says that, hey, man, I don't know what this thing is. I saw my vision, whatever. But, it looked like kind of like a frog, and it was diseased. And now the false prophet won't shut the hell up about these diseased frog-looking things. Okay, I think it's Dr. Fauci talking about his damn bats and how it didn't come from the Wuhan Virus Institute right down the street. It came from bats. That's what he was always saying. So it is what it is. Now, this is interesting as well. Also, additionally, the false prophet, the tribulation is like 7 years, okay? The Great Tribulation. So once the 7 signs of the Armageddon are complete, then we will enter this 7-year tribulation period, which we believe the 7th sign was in late 2019. So realistically, the 7-year tribulation will end in about 2026. probably about 2026 or 2025, actually, late 2025. It's coming up, a year and a half. We don't have much time left, guys. We don't have much time left. And the first three and a half years of this great tribulation are basically going to be the false prophet who we've identified as Dr. Fauci, who's going to be making a bunch of false claims for miracles. He's going to claim that he's going to perform miracles on the entire world and heal the world. But of course, the Bible says this is all false. This is not real. It's not going to happen. So we know that Fauci was heavily invested into the mRNA technology, the vaccine technology. He honestly, legitimately believed that through this, they were going to master that technology and that they were going to be able to design an mRNA vaccine for literally almost any ailment one could dream of and make it within like hours, a day tops, right there. And then, bam, just basically cure any disease from anyone. Like, this is what Dr. Fauci talked about nonstop when he was trying to get the mRNA technology funded just before the pandemic. So, it's pretty crazy. And in fact, you know what? Let me show you some claims that Dr. Fauci made just before the pandemic. This is, all right, let's see if we can do this now here.
Scientists now throughout the country and the world have been able to identify components of the influenza that really do not change much at all. And the critical issue is getting a vaccine to induce a response against that part.
You might be thinking, when was this recorded? This was recorded, I kid you not, just a month before COVID was hit the China. Like this right here, I think is like in October or something in 2019. Okay, maybe September. This is late 2019, literally just weeks to a month or two before China announces its COVID pandemic. That's when this was.
A vaccine that induces a response in the body to that part of the influenza that doesn't change from season to season, from decade to decade, or even that much when you get a pandemic.
Well, I'm not a representative of industry,
so clearly he's saying, like, listen, my technology is perfect because it works on the part of the virus that never changes. And yet, as we know, they now say that you have to change it every 2 months or it's useless completely.
Make a flu vaccine every year, and it sells and it protects people to the degree that we can expect. So you have no incentive. Right? Why the hell would I go spend $400 million to do this thing, which may be great?
He wants $400 million.
Really great, you give it once or twice or 5 times.
And that's where the federal government comes in.
Yeah. And you see, and listen to that. This is his plan. He planned this all along to drag the federal government into paying for this $400 million mRNA research that he had all these patents in and owned all this technology and had his fingers in every single pot and controlled. And he talked about it legitimately like it was going to cure the world of all ailments.
Seriously, what happens is, in fact, you bring up an excellent point. Our responsibility to the public health and not the profit line has to be able to push the process to the point where industry will find it to their benefit to do that. I think if you're going to sit back and wait for a company that's been growing virus in eggs for the last 30 years to spontaneously change without any incentive, without any de-risking, it's just not going to happen.
Listening to this guy speak hurts my brain.
The DRC, where I went to a week and a half ago to visit our sites, and you ask somebody, are you worried about influenza? They'll laugh at you. What are you talking about influenza? They don't vaccinate their people for influenza because they have enough problems with malaria and tuberculosis and now Ebola.
They don't care.
It's a perception.
And funny how of all the countries, Africa essentially had almost zero COVID impact. almost like they only wrote down that someone died from it if they really died from it, and it just wasn't that many people.
There's a misperception that it is not a serious disease, but as Casey said, hundreds of thousands of people die of it each year, and when you get a pandemic, millions and millions of people. So we really do have a problem.
Millions and millions. He knows the numbers now.
Influenza, and it's going to be very difficult to change that unless you do it from within and say, I don't care what your perception is, we're going to address the problem in a disruptive way and in an iterative way, because you do need both.
There you go. He said, I don't care what your opinion is. You're going to get the vaccine. We're going to disrupt everything and initiate everything.
When you do get a universal flu vaccine, you're going to want to give it to 6-month-old kids.
Everybody.
Because a universal flu vaccine, even for me at my age, is not going to be universal.
Even if they're fetuses in the mother's belly. Heck, just get a long needle, injected them that way. They need it. They need it. I'm the science. God, this guy is such a joke, man. I hate him so bad. Okay. But anyways, yeah. There we go. So he is the false prophet who claims to be the face of science, performing miracles, doing well. But of course, as we know now, it all didn't. Now, so that explains the false prophet. Now, I want to tell you there's a rift in the church, right? They about half the church believes that the rapture will occur before the tribulation, because when Jesus is talking about it, he specifically says it in that order: rapture, tribulation, Armageddon. But there is told many times, they say things like, listen, the false prophet is going to kill, and the beast are going to get together, and they're going to kill millions of Christians, saints, during the Great Tribulation. So this basically is proof to you that no, the Christians will not be spared from the tribulation. They are going to have to endure most, if not all, of the tribulation before they are raptured. But they will be raptured before the tribulation is officially over. So like the last day of the tribulation, the rapture will occur, and I'll break that down why that is here in a second. All right? And then Armageddon will officially begin at that point. So you got 7 years of tribulation, then the rapture, then Armageddon. All right? And Armageddon will go into what Jesus says. And the reason why the aliens, like God, whatever, angels, whatever you want to call it all, it's all the same thing to me. It's synonymous. Is going to have to rapture those that they deem worthy just before Armageddon, is because Armageddon, we're going to go into, Jesus describes it as essentially a nuclear holocaust. That's all, nukes go everywhere. Nukes. Goodbye. Everybody dies. And so I personally believe that if there is anything in this world that can destroy a human soul, or any soul for that matter, human soul, it is a thermonuclear hydrogen bomb. That would do it. If anything could, that would do it. So the world's going to be destroyed by nukes, and everybody that lives where these nukes are going to go off, their soul is going to be destroyed completely and utterly. Nothing left. No afterlife for you. So the aliens are going to have to come at the last second and abduct all of these people, or just murder them. It might look bad. It might look they're just coming, zapping people. Just everybody dies. And you're like, oh my God, they killed everybody. And then you see nukes coming. Oh, we're all going to die. And but really what's happening is the rapture. They're killing you, and then they're going to retrieve your soul before the nukes come, so that way your soul is safe and preserved. And then, as the Bible says, you will be given a second body, and heaven, a second life, a second body too. So yeah, this body's got to die one way or the other to leave this planet. Sorry, you cannot leave this planet with this body. Just not going to happen. And that's good though, because like I said, if they didn't do that and you stayed in the city that gets nuked, then your soul dies and that's it. There's nothing left of you. Just memories, which people will forget soon enough. Trust me. And yeah, there's lots of different passages. I will rise up on at the last day, like when the seventh or fifth trumpet, sounds, and that's going to be the final day. And then that's when the dead rise up, and it just goes on and on and on. It's pretty crazy, really. And then when they're talking, this harvest, the resurrection occurs at the end of the age. All right, that's what Jesus says. It says no man will know exactly when it is. Even the angels, the aliens won't know the exact day, but the God, the true one running the show, will know when they're planning this down. But everybody else is going to kind of just have an ideal. But they'll say, I'll come at the end of the age. We might be thinking, age? What? Here's the exact quote, Matthew 13:39. The harvest is at the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. So I looked up ages on Wikipedia, and what came up with the zodiac ages, astrological ages, which would have been, used back days a lot more in a scientific manner, especially for, referring to large swaths of time passing. Because every astrological zodiac age, when the Earth shifts, and the sky you see is looking at a different astrological zodiac. That's an age, and it occurs naturally from the way the Earth orbits around our solar system or not. And they last about 2,000 years. So, like I say, Aries was 2150 to 1 BC. Pisces is 1. So keep that in mind. About when Jesus was born, literally to the day Jesus was born, I'm willing to bet, ushered in the age of Pisces, Jesus' age. And he says at the end of the age is when the rapture, or when Armageddon will take place. So at the end of the age is in 2150. And that is when it goes to the age of Aquarius. Well, right now, we're in 2024. So there's only like 100 years left of a 2,000-year period. If we do the math, that works out to be about 5%. We are approximately 95% of the way through the age of Jesus that was born into, the age of Aquarius, or Pisces, the age of Pisces. Sounds like the end of the age to me, baby. This is going to happen. It's already been decided. We've been building up to this for thousands of years. No backing out now. This is going to happen. The time is now. At very least, this proves that Jesus is saying this is going to happen in this 100-year period here sometime around here. This is going to happen. All right? And if we go to Revelations, let me see here. We go. Revelations is like the very end, right? There are. I'm trying to find the exact passage, but basically, it goes on about the dragon, the red dragon, that is supposed to represent Satan, right? And the immoral woman, who rides this dragon. Okay, let me see here. Let me see if I can. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, here is the passage about where, like, I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and the mouth of the beast, and the mouth of the false prophet. So that's, I thought it was just the false prophet that was going on about the unclean spirits of frogs. No, it's actually all of them, which, as we know, during this pandemic, it was, the government, it was the WHO, it was Dr. Fauci, it was everything, trying to, beat you into submission and test you, and test which one you choose, the golden calf or God. Do you choose things that are man-made, or do you choose what God has made for you? This is essentially what it comes down to. Where's your trust? Is your trust in your fellow humans, or is your trust in God, who created you and has a dream and a plan for you? It is what it is. Let's see here. And behold, the beast coming out of the earth, 2 horns. Yeah. What I'm trying to find here. Let me see if I find it real quick. Okay, yeah. So the woman and the dragon. So there is a great immoral woman who rides the dragon all around the world. And the dragon is supposed to be Satan, right? And the immoral woman, and she's got the beast helping her, and she's going around and she's corrupting the minds of all the kings and all the kingdoms, and they cannot resist her, for it is God's will that she overpower them with her fortitude. And the immoral woman is essentially feminism / wokeism, okay? Feminism is essentially women who don't want to be virtuous. They want to basically be worldly, harlots, whatever. They don't want to follow God's plan for what a woman should be, bearing and raising a man's children, and spawning and teaching the next generation. That's what God's want women to be. Feminism wants women just to basically run around and be men. That's what they want. They want women to be men and men to be women. This is on the woke nature of it all. It's quite extreme. And so the dragon, I believe Satan is human nature. There is no real Satan. It's a metaphor for human nature. But conveniently, they talk about the dragon because 2024 is the year of the dragon. So we are now in the year of the dragon. That's what I think a lot of really bad stuff is about to go down. I think they say that they're going to ride the dragon to make all this stuff happen. I think in this year, 2024, we're going to see in the year of the dragon some of the worst things that feminism has accomplished, or wokeism around the world, to try and end religion and to attack God's plan and will for his creation, us, his people. All right. Everything that we have is because he gave it to us. He made it and gave it to us. Don't ever forget that. You're not special. You're not God. But so that's why that's important. The immoral woman that goes around corrupting all the kings and all the kingdoms, and I believe it's like just the last couple pages where they really talk about it, how everything gets burned. Is feminism. And the ones that are peddling the feminism is essentially the WF. The WF has spent, since 2015, an untold amount of billions and maybe even trillions of dollars just to explicitly push and force feminism and wokeism and globalism and all the isms that are against God's plan. on the entire world. They have no choice but to submit because this is how the end time is meant to usher in. And so it's pretty crazy. And let me see here. Does it say here that the nation saves to walk in the light of the king? No. Yeah, this I guess the King James doesn't have the right verbiage, but anyways, that is that crazy stuff, right? And then also going into that, I want you to take a look at this. This is going to really kind of blow your mind a little bit. This blew my mind. I think this blows everybody's minds when they first see it, all right? You're like, well, how do we really know Klaus Schwab is the Antichrist just because he wants to fight for women's rights? Cool story, bro. Why don't you watch this?
I came across something that blew my mind. The Bible tells us where Satan's throne is. In Revelations 2 and 13, it says, I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. So where was Antipas slain? And when you look it up, it takes us here. And when you Google where Antipas was martyred, it brings you to Geneva, Switzerland. It says the traditional account goes on to say Antipas was martyred during the reign of Nero by burning in a brazen bull-shaped altar at the Apollyon Temple in Geneva, Switzerland. And that, of course, got me to wondering, what exactly is in Geneva? Let's take a look. The CERN-Hadron Collider, for one, where they're trying to discover and replicate the Big Bang.
I don't know about that one, but the other one's has got a fantastic
And,
point.
Of course, if I was the devil and wanted control over the world, I would be sure to bring all the world organizations to where I was, such as the United Nations.
Yep.
I might bring along the World Health Organization as well.
Yep.
And I would definitely want the World Trade Organization there. And I would definitely have Gavi there, the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunizations. And you can't finance an empire without having the World Economic Forum in Geneva, Switzerland. And of course, I would have all the other organizations there. 33 international organizations. 33. Isn't there significance to that number? But I'll be honest with you. When I saw this today, it literally blew my mind. I don't even have words. But if you have eyes to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And then also, additionally, on top of that, let me show you this. So, this was the statue that they put in front of the UN headquarters just a few years ago, like 2020, during the midst of the pandemic. And it is essentially the beast, as described in Revelations. The artists said, yeah, they wanted me to make the beast, made the beast. And this is their mascot. Think about that. The beast from Revelations that is working to usher in the Armageddon, the end of civilization itself, and the United Nations decides to make that beast their mascot and logo. You guys really have to be blind not to see this stuff. I mean, seriously, you have to be just blind as a bat to look at that, and to think that that's just a mere coincidence, or that's so cute and adorable. This is literally like the end of the world, people. This is crazy. All right, so we've covered most all of this stuff. There's probably some things I'm going to forget too, but whatever. So when it comes to what Jesus actually says about the end of the world, here's pretty much his exact words, right? He says, for the end of the world, the gospel will be taught on all continents. Okay, so only about the last 100 years has, the gospel of Jesus Christ really been taught on all the continents, like Africa mainly, Asia, whatnot, with all of your missionaries and stuff preaching it. So that's fulfilled. Christianity will be taught on all continents. Okay, yeah. There will be war and rumors of war and nation against nation. Well, I mean, aside from World War II, we are essentially at a global state of war, more than we ever have been before, maybe in World War I as well. It is nation against nation. I think right now America has officially bombed between America and Israel. Every single Middle Eastern country has been bombed at this point, except for like Saudi Arabia or something. It's pretty crazy. All right, war is everywhere. We got this proxy war going on with Russia and Ukraine. China wants to go after Taiwan. This is all the wars, and in the Bible it says there will be war in the Middle East too, for the end times, and now we have all these wars going on in the Middle East. It's just this was all planned, guys. This was all planned. This is how it's all going down. There'll be famine. The WEF, once again, and the United Nations are forcing all countries, they can anyways, all of them, to use less fertilizer and pesticides. It's already destroyed Sri Lanka from this. Sri Lanka, literally declared insolvency as a country, from them attacking their farmers like that, their agriculture. And yet they're still doubling down. Like, you have all the farmers in Europe that are protesting all these Australian measures and everything. And I mean, we're not in a state of famine, global famine yet, but believe me, we're not far from it, man. We're not far from global famine. And right now, there is definitely famine to be had for many people, like in struggling countries like Sri Lanka, Haiti, Africa. A lot of countries are being affected by the reduced production of our yields from farming, from being forced to use less fertilizer and pesticides. There'll be pestilence. Well, pestilence is just another word for pandemic, plandemic, epidemic, whatever, COVID-19. And they also, they're trying to press all these other things too, like pneumonia and RSV and the flu and everything. They won't shut up about all the diseases. They want to scare you. They want you to be scared about every little thing you can't see. And earthquakes. So there'll be earthquakes in diverse places. I mean, all around the world, there'll be earthquakes. Well, funny. There are like 7 severe earthquakes in 2023 alone that killed hundreds of thousands of people. Okay? 7, like, severe earthquakes where each one had killed many, many people in populated areas. That, I don't know if that's the record, but it's definitely got to be up there. 100% got to be up there. Says many will be offended and shall hate one another. All right, well, liberals and conservatives right now are just, fighting. The rift between the left and the right has never been bigger, I don't think. And of course, the false prophet will promise false miracles and deceive the elect. So we got Dr. Fauci tricking Trump into approving his gain of function research, and Dr. Fauci forcing all to take his vaccine, which did almost virtually nothing against COVID, but so far claims, according to excess death rates from insurance companies who do not care about anything but their bottom line money, are saying that, this has actually killed at least 20 million people worldwide so far. with many more to come. Are they right? I don't know. That's what they say, though. Now, this is what's happened, all right? This is what has happened, or is happening now, in our tribulation that we are in year 5 of 7. Here's what hasn't happened yet. The Great Tribulation. Of course, the 7-year period is not over, but it is eventually, the last 3.5 years are just bad for everybody. That's where we're at right now. So technically, this has happened. The angels will take some people away to spare them. That is the rapture. And that occurs right before Armageddon, like the day before or the day of. The east will destroy the west with a flash, or a lightning flash. A lightning flash, or maybe in the flash of lightning, or as quickly as a flash of lightning. Who knows? But the east will destroy the west. So, what is this? This is going to be Russia is going to launch nukes. This is going to be China is going to launch nukes. This is going to be maybe North Korea is going to launch nukes. This could be possibly something going on in the Middle East launching nukes. It's not going to be America that starts it, but you damn Skippy, the mutually assured destruction principle is going to kick in, and America is going to make sure the job gets finished. 100%. Russia and China. Yep. The days will grow short, and a long winter will come. Huh. Sounds like nuclear winter to me. The sun will be darkened, and there will be no moonlight. Sounds like nuclear winter to me. Anyone who travels during this winter shall perish. Nuclear winter with radiation. Only those who flee to the mountains will survive. Interesting. Nukes are going to target all the cities, not rural areas. It also says in Revelation, the cities, civilization is what is being destroyed, people. Not humanity, not the earth, not the planet, not religion. Civilization is what must be destroyed. All of the cities and the woke, liberal, leftist, democratic ideologies that just naturally come along with too many damn people living too close to one another, not valuing the life of humanity or human life itself. So, and then here it goes off into the false prophet. The miracles, how they claim, just so you know, I didn't make that up. He will force people to accept the Antichrist mark and punish those who will not. All right? This actually goes off into the mark of the beast, which is another thing which has already happened. Let's go into that real quick before I forget. Okay. So yeah, basically with the mark of the beast, man, it's basically this thing. No one knows exactly what the mark is. Some sore on the men which had the mark of the beast. That's not exactly it. Yep, and whoever has the mark of the beast is going to be punished because they chose the golden cow over God. Don't ever do that. That's like literally, man. And throughout all the Old Testament and the New Testament, they just say two main commandments that you need to know if you're going to have any chance of hell to get in heaven. Number one, love God more first. So that's basically going back to the golden cow. Don't ever pit the golden cow over God, okay? God is always number one. And then if you want, you can pit the golden cow below God, the works of man, anything man-made that you want to idolize. That pop singer, science, human history, whatever, cities, civilization, whatever. God is always number one. Never, ever pit anything man-made above God. That is commandment number 1. Number 2, don't be a dick. Love thy neighbor, you know? Don't ever conspire to harm any other living being. That's actually in the Old Testament, yeah. And he keeps saying that over and over and over. And that's basically saying, listen, man, you got to be kind. You got to be benevolent. You got to be a good person, or we don't want you to exist, because the last thing we need or want is some asshole, malevolent, earth monkey species roaming around the galaxy, just murdering, raping, and pillaging every planet they come across. Ah, give me all your gold! Ah! You know what I mean? So you have to be kind. And if not, God thinks you deserve to die. And I have to say, I kind of agree with that too. So, yeah. And I will bear the mark of Jesus Christ. But here it says, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet wrought miracles before him, didn't, and which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and that worshipped, and these were cast into the lake of fire for birthstone, right? And so basically, one of the passages in the mark of the beast says that it's put in either the forehead or the hands or arm, I think, translation. And it's a mark, and you have to have it to do trade or commerce or travel or do anything. Basically, the government will not let you live your life if you do not have their mark on you. And I believe that was the vaccine, because I know personally when I was in San Francisco when the pandemic hit, they literally would not let me go into the grocery store and buy groceries unless I could prove to them that I was vaccinated. I want you to think about that. Food, to eat, to survive, to live, not to die. And I couldn't even get that without the mark of the beast or the vaccine mark on my arm and the numbers to prove it, and my little card, which I could memorize and put in my head, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was talking about. But I do believe that the mark of the beast has already happened. It said it'll happen in the first half, and it did, because everyone who didn't get the vaccine and who didn't wear a mask, symbolizing, I'm all for this pandemic, yay, keep us locked up forever, please. Everyone who didn't do that, you know how damn hard your life was for those few years, okay? You know. No one else does but you. You know. I know. I was there. It was pretty brutal. I almost got in a death fight with many police. Many police I almost fought to the death with just to get a goddamn fucking loaf of bread. Excuse my French. So, that is that. Now, I think that's pretty much everything that we've gone over. It's been so long, chaotic, I know. There's only one more thing that I really want to go into, and that is Trump being the beast. There's something very interesting about Trump that I noticed. He actually, he is in one of the signs. He is in, if you remember, the 5th sign, the butt of the beast and Empire of Darkness. And also he was there for the solar eclipse too, you could say, maybe 2 of the signs. But it's funny because 2 days after that solar eclipse, which is the 4th sign, 2 years to the day after that, he did this. He literally, was going on about his trade negotiations with China.
I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China. I'm taking on China on trade. And you know what? We're winning.
Like, he's getting kind of riled up in this argument, but you can clearly see
I am the chosen one.
He literally looks away from the reporters up to the sky towards God and proclaims, I am the chosen one. Like he is signifying, I am the representative for the beast. It was me all along. Another funny thing about Trump. Maybe he is a chosen one, because this is his birthday. 1946 in June 14th. That's his birthday. And I'm willing to bet he was probably born about this time of day, too. There was a lunar eclipse, a blood moon, which usually, in the Bible, the blood moon also comes along and signifies the end of the world. Trump could be the blood moon that is ushering in the end of the world as the beast. Very possible. Very possible. And it's weird, too, because Trump was born in America, but this blood moon particularly, I believe, went over, is it 1946? Yeah, went over, like, this Australia region, which exactly on the other side of the planet is America. Probably wherever Trump was at when he was born. I want to get really specific about it, because he is the chosen one. Another fun fact, if you had any doubts about me and my theory of dynamic gravity, I was born not of a blood moon, but of a super harvest blood moon. Maybe I'm the chosen of the chosen ones. But I thought that was very interesting, you know? That Trump would just, out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, but, it's just such an odd
I am the chosen one.
Thing.
Somebody had to do it.
2 years on the day after the fourth sign of Armageddon was complete, which was the solar eclipse. And you could maybe this was when officially the fifth one became the butt of the beast. I don't know. Very weird, very odd. I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I think that's pretty much all. Maybe that's not everything I got so far as proof that we are in year 5 of 7 of the Great Tribulation. And very soon the rapture will occur, and then Armageddon, which will essentially be the nukes destroying all the major cities and leaving rural life alone. So that way, and then also it says, Jesus says also, the final thing of Armageddon is the angels will come with the 4 winds and just blow all of the bad dark clouds away. So all the radioactive dark clouds have created this nuclear winter for the whole planet. They're smothering and killing with radiation and darkness. The angels, God, Jesus and his, legion, or the aliens, however you want to look at it, will basically just come in and use wind, just clear everything out and, take care of the radiation and detoxify things, so that way we get a clean slate and things are made anew for that generation that is now going to live by the word of God to the letter. Because we've seen what happens to our civilization when we don't follow God. It always seems to end in gay orgies. Think I'm wrong? Look up the end of almost every empire and how it ended and what was going on at the end. Babylon. Gay orgies, and it ended. Or adopted feminism, and then gay orgies, and it ended. Sparta, adopted feminism, gay orgies, and it ended. At least according to the excerpt of, was it Socrates? Like Socrates, Aristotle, one of those, Socrates, I think it was, who lived through that and saw the whole thing firsthand. That was what he said. You gonna argue with him? Rome, adopted feminism. Technically the birthplace of modern feminism. And then 100 years, gay orgies, and ends. It's destroyed. It's weird. It's weird how it always seems to feminism and wokeism is a curse that has been staining our species, humanity, for it seems as long as we've had civilization. It seems like we all get together in these big groups of civilization, in cities, And then we all agree that, we should be kinder and women should have more power and authority and they're the better sex and blah, blah, blah. And then within 100 years after this, all of a sudden women are controlling everything and now everything is all gay orgies and then it just all falls apart. Prove me wrong. All right, well, I'm going to go. Church, you guys have fun. I just wanted to share this knowledge because, it has been eating away in my brain like a tick, just siphoning all of my mental fortitude and energy, just knowing this. And I just wanted to at least give the opportunity for other people to have a clue of what's going on and why the world is the way it is and where it's all going and what you can do about it. Get right with God, get away from all the cities, and go to rural life and live a simpler life. Don't be concerned with material things that come out of the udder of the golden cow. Be more concerned with spiritual things that God wishes you to conquer. And on that note, I wish you all good luck in this incoming and impending apocalypse. May you not die a death by zombie. And with that, adios. Goodbye.
Like, subscribe, submit.